Hello and welcome to UVC Chronicles. I'm your host, Mohammad Fouzan. For this episode, we have a special guest, Mr. Sridhar Aghalaya. Welcome, sir, to the podcast. Yeah, we'd love for you to introduce yourself to our audience.
So I did my engineering from UVC here. So we were here from 1982 to 87, graduated in 87. And since then, after that, I worked for 2 years at Ramaya College. And then I did my MTech from Surathkal. And then worked for BEML for 2 years. And I was in the UK for 20 years. I'm mainly working on digital transformation, e-commerce kind of projects. And then I'm back in Bangalore for the last 6 years. So I'm doing more digital transformation consultancy and involved with startups as advisor or co-founder. And I've also kind of worked on few initiatives in the social enterprise side, both in the UK and here. And I've also been involved in the digital transformation side since the late 90s. So before Amazon came to the UK, I had launched an online bookshop. And I'm part of the UVC Graduates Association, executive committee member here. And I also was one of the person who initiated the UVC Mega Reunion in 2011. And I'm kind of constantly connected with the UVC for different initiatives. And then also I've judged the startups in the NITK competitions. So here also, as part of the UVC Graduates Association, Fouzan, you have also worked with us. So we are doing the entrepreneurs we have the entrepreneurs group, and we are doing the events. So maybe we could look at how we can have an incubation center here. I also go and support some projects like at the MSRIT and other places. So we could look at how the UVC can become the center for that incubation from the college space as well. The NITK are also supportive, so we can kind of work with NITK because we have hosted events together. So we can do how we can kind of build on that as well.
So a lot of our listeners are obviously familiar with NITK, NIT Surathkal. That is a college that a lot of us have been dreaming to get into. So how was your experience studying there? And a sub question to this is, after you've completed your time in UVC and you've gone to this now Premier Institute of India to do your masters, but was there something that you missed about? Were you homesick about UVC? Or was there something that you felt NITK has that maybe something natural about NITK that you didn't see in UVC that you wish you had experienced?
So I grew up in Bangalore, and then I was at home while studying at UVC. So when I went to study at RIC Surathkal, it was called RIC Surathkal then, and now NIT Surathkal. So that was the first time I had kind of gone out of home and also out of Bangalore. So that itself was a change. The UVC taught us more like self-learning. So today, if we are doing many things, it's self-learning. So that whereas it was more structured at RIC Surathkal. I was part of few adventure activities as well. So we started the adventure club there. A few of our friends from Bangalore itself. And then the NITK has its own beach. So that was, entirely, it's a different kind of an experience because you go to the beach and then, the sea is different every day. So I find that, the NITK beach is one of the best beach in the world. And I keep going back. Even last December, I was there. There was kind of a cultural difference as well in UVC at that time. We had the freedom. So I came out to do my project outside RIC Surathkal. So yeah, that's the difference that I found. It's a sea culture and the sea.
I did want to ask you about startups because that has sort of become like a keyword in your professional journey now. So I guess the choice that we have right now is you join a private conglomerate or a private a private corporation, right? Or you start your own company. And one requires more bravery than the other. So I guess why or what about the startup culture was so attractive to you that you're now so involved in it? Yeah.
The UVC experience gave the foundation. So even when we were at UVC, as I said, we had to kind of find our own way. So we had to do the self-learning, and then even because things were not structured here. So during the holidays, a few of us, our classmates, we went on a cycle trip. The cycle trip at that days, now we have the Google Map and all that. So we had to plan our cycle tour. So we went to Badami House, the Karnataka State tourism place. And then we saw the big map. And then on that map, we decided that, okay, first day we will go to Mekedatu. Next day we will go to Shimsha, and then Talkadu, Mysore, and then back. So that was our mapping, in those days. So we were adventurous, and probably when things are not structured, so that allows us to be adventurous. And even during the final year, the adventure spirit had made us to book for the trekking in the Himalayas. So when everybody were preparing for their final years, we were getting ready for going to the Himalayas. That's through the youth hostels. The main attraction for me then was going and seeing the snow, because of being from the south. So that was the first experience. So as part of getting prepared for that trekking, Himalayan trekking, Kulu Manali Himalayan trekking, so we had to do rock climbing in Ramnagar and all that. So that actually I continued that interest, and I did my basic mountaineering course from Darjeeling, and I did my advanced mountaineering course from Uttarkashi, and then I was about to go for expeditions and all that. I did the advanced mountaineering course so that I could get I could lead the team, but however, because I went to the UK, so this route to kind of they take hold. Part of another startup called Namanima Cycle Foundation. Through that, we are trying to build the bicycle ecosystem. Roads, because it's not as safe as when we were cycling. So maybe we could look at those things, how the UVC can kind of support those kind of activities as well in the active mobility.
So what would you tell, the aspiring entrepreneurs of UVC?
See, some of the things, it's about, the persevering is one of the main things. So if I take a couple of examples, we had the e-commerce site before Amazon came to the UK. When I was in the UK, I lived in a village called Kava. The house was built into the river, and then there was a weir which was holding the water. That house that I lived in, that was built as part of the cotton mill, because that was diverting the water from this reservoir, and then it was going to the cotton mill during the 19th century. So that's where the industrial revolution started on this river Derwent. But then this 150-year-old the weir, it was crumbling. So it was a grade 2 listed structure. It's a small village with few hundred houses. So in order to, because the biodiversity also, we were going to lose the biodiversity if the weir crumbled. So we raised the funds locally initially, and then we also raised around 1.7 million from all the public bodies, environmental agency, the lottery fund, and various agencies. So we made the fish pass and all that, but that took 5 years. So we had to persevere for 5 years, and then post 5 years, we can see even there is a website now, coverweir.org.uk. So all the history is there, and then they've recorded, the local history there and all of that. So, but we had to work on it for 5 years. So that is so that one end, the people these days they might think that startup, and then the other millionaires, and so it's not that. It's about the changing things. It's about um, making things better. As an engineer, that's what we are kind of taught, I believe. So making things better. So that doesn't necessarily have to be in a machine. It's also in a society. So that's like the engineering for society. So we had to work with the civil engineers. We had to give the contract to the civil engineers and all that. So that was but 5 years, and then again, as part of that, it's also about the technology behind, and also about to reach the customers who are online. So you need to be there where the customers are. So the different things. This was like the social the pre Facebook and the social media times. So you reach through different ways, through website, and then the LinkedIn had started as well. So you create different groups. So LinkedIn had come on. So that way I thought that we could use a LinkedIn, because whatever I was learning, I was also looking at. So I'd recruited. I was a partner in the bookshop, and then as the landscape was changing with the internet, so we launched an online bookshop, because that was more like a necessity. So if you are the doing the job properly, then you have to do certain things. So it is not like the startup is also that's how the innovation or the ideas come, because it's, the market was changing, the book selling was changing, the profession was changing, the customers' experience was they were the internet had given the potential for giving a different customer experience. If we don't give that to the customer, then they're going to we are going to lose out that customer on the market share. So that way, so maybe that also the self-learning that the UVC had taught, so we could learn ourselves how to build the the e-commerce site. So we built that, and then it was 3 million titles. So we had built how it could benefit the different groups as well, our society, our college, or other things. So I created the LinkedIn group. Around 2007, I created the UVC LinkedIn group. So there's around 2,500 members now on the LinkedIn group. So there, so I posted this message. Someone that a student like you sent me a message in 2009 or something. I posted that because the group was at that time around 800 members. People like Satish, Lomesh, Satya, Saad, all of those Vision UEC founders were members. They had just passed out in 2009. So they started interacting. Yes, let us do. And then there was we had around 80 messages. So from the people in the US were doing. So these are the using the new media tools for the community. So otherwise we miss out. That's about engineering. It's not about what you study now, because what you can study continuously is the most important thing. Because if you don't understand what is happening, so then you cannot innovate. So it's about understanding, and then you know that so you do the innovation as a necessity. Because necessity is the mother of invention. As I said, now I'm advising a few startups. It's mainly it's about I work with the ones where I can add value, because the cycling has been because of sustainability side. So that way I've been helping that June 3rd there will be the World Cycle Day. So there will be lead ride that we are organizing. Last year we organized from Vidhan Sauda through Kaban Park. So this year also on June 3rd we'll be organizing, and then we have an MOU with AICTE where we're trying to build this, bicycle ecosystem. So there will be for the we're also trying to build the cargo bicycles. So for that, we will work with some colleges. So at the same time, the when I had the bookshop, I launched the e-commerce platform. That was the first time that the customers. It was more like business to consumer, B2C. But now the same digital transformation is happening in the manufacturing side. So now Industry 4.0 is coming. So I'm building the digital platform for the manufacturing side. So that way you upload the drawing, and then your component will be on your desk. So I'm working with one company called Systemantics, where I'm the our company IFAB Innovations is the manufacturing partner for mechanical components. So they have outsourced everything to our company. So I manufacture around 150 components from different vendors. So we want to move that. I'm doing it online with some the digital kind of the dashboards, but we want to kind of improve that so that the everything can happen. The customer experience can improve both from the quality and the delivery. So that's like this. I get involved with the different, because there's another company that I was a co-founding director called Emertech Innovation. So they are into blockchain. So they're working in the agriculture sector.
I did want to circle back a bit to your time in the United Kingdom, where you were involved in the digital transformation before Amazon could reach, right? So could you tell us more about that particular experience? Because with Amazon trying to reach the finish line before you guys, who were locally present on the ground, right? I think that experience would have been very exhilarating, because you knew Amazon was going to catch up at one point. So how was that experience like?
Because I entered that market from the book selling background. So I had a bookshop. So it was a survival for us to keep our customers and to provide the digital experience for our customers. Whereas the Amazon came from the market perspective. So they understood that the market was changing. So they can, if they become the market leaders, then they have a huge market, the global market. And also because they are based in the US, the startup market, we need to understand it's not about how good is your idea, or it's not about how good is your product. It's about the startup market, where the market is exponentially the expanding. Then it's about how quickly you grab the market. So that's why the venture capitalists, they come in and then they fund they take the bet on who is going to be the winner. So it's not about the initial years. It's about making profitability. It's about how you can kind of cover your losses. So you take the money for marketing. So the Amazon, and before they made any money, so they had made around 2 billion losses. So the game is who can raise that 2 billion. So it's the winner will be the one, not because of the best product, not because of things, who can raise the 2 billion loss cover. Because someone like a bookshop, independent bookshop, we can't raise it because we don't have that network. Because it is, in a way, you can say that there is privilege in that startup world also. The privileged wins. Being in America, so they could raise. The rest, I was running from a small village. Even now also, if you look at the venture capital market, it's for it funds the privileged. So there is that element, because even in the UK and US, there will be that network, because you start doing the research on who gets funded, what's their network, and all of that. So even here also, there will be, you will see that you will see that the only certain sector, certain the different things work. So it's a privilege to get the funding. So back to that. So that way there was a limitation on the what we could achieve with the limited resources, because that's the funding is a different thing altogether. It's not about book selling was my thing. So we had to look at the how to continually innovate. So as a bookshop, there's the bookshop market. If the online is taking around 20% of the market, so you have to look at how differently you have to kind of operate. So the bookshop experience itself, you have to give from the bookshop the experience which the online doesn't give. So we started a cafe. So when people come in, they get that experience. So at a cafe, and then we started running a literary festival, because those things online can't do. So and then we had our own, even on the online, we started our own books for the people interested in books, social media for the books. And then because we have the audience, then we can reach those customers, readers directly. So we can publish books. So I became a publisher. So it's about continuous innovation. So because when the market is changing, if you don't innovate, you perish. So that innovation also is not like, it's something, this is just a necessity. Because if you're doing the job right, you will innovate. You can't just kind of close your doors and then do the work. So you have to see what else is happening around. So that's when the innovation will happen, and that's. But with the startup, you have to be careful as well. So it's not just about the idea, you have the product, because if you are entering into a market which is requires huge funding, do you have that network to get the funding? So then you look at how to keep your business kind of profitable on a shoestring budget. So don't go for the continuous the loss making, because the loss makings it's only like if you have the network to cover that funding from the VCs. So VCs are again the doors are closed for many. Because of in India, doors are closed for many for different opportunities. So same way the startups also. So that way, be careful about that.
I did want to ask you a slightly personal - professional question. Is there a public figure or someone who you look up to, who you've learned a lot from their legacy when it comes to how you practice your profession?
See, at the moment, I can call myself an Ambedkarite, because Baba Sahib, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar is my inspiration. And so I recommend everyone to kind of, read about him, learn about him, and then also the other the social transformers like the Pule or Kuempu, who have or Narayan Guru or the Buddha, who have kind of tried to bring an equal society. So because I talked about the opportunities being the doors being closed for many. So we need to look at unless we have an equal society, the society is not going to be peaceful, and it's so that's so these are the people, because it's at the end of the day it's about the having a equal society, sama samaja.
It's very heartwarming for me and an inspiration for me to see that there's so much of passion in upholding an equal society. So really commendable, sir. And I hope all of our listeners, and including me, everyone tuning into this episode, that contributing is also important, and it's not really all about just focusing on your own goals. My final question to you, sir, you're a UVC alumni. UVC is now autonomous. What would be your, some hopes that you have that UVC now incorporates? It's for example, now we have to modify our labs. We have to upgrade our labs. Sorry, we have to upgrade our curriculum. So those things are all there, but from your experience, what would you hope some changes that UVC makes in its autonomy in the future?
So as I said, everyone are organized. We are not going to get the best. So here also, just because it changes, it becomes autonomous. It doesn't mean that we will see the change. It's about how we all work together and then see what's the best, and then how we get that. Like as Dr. Ambedkar said, Constitution. It can be bad if the implementers are not good. So it's as good as the implementers. So that way, so we don't think that because it is autonomous, it's going to change. So we have to work with the board of governors and then make sure that the policies. Because now we know that already for 107 years the UVCV has given the admission for Karnataka students. So because it's becoming autonomous, we are losing 25%. So there are changes which might not benefit the people who the benefited. So it's so we need to be careful about with autonomy we don't go backwards. So we need to make sure that we go forwards. We have a platform from the alumni community so that we can contribute. The governing board has to listen to all of the stakeholders. So only then we can see the change. So we are here to contribute. And one more thing on the social enterprise side that I was talking about, because I talked about the equal society. So I'm also an editor of Roundtable India, the Kannada version. So it's roundtableindia.co.in/Kannada. So where we are archiving a lot of the history about the culture of Karnataka. So it's a platform where writers can they publish their articles, and we have also done interviews. So that's one place I'm trying to we are trying to archive, and we are publishing a book now. In English, we have published around 15 books. As my own independent publishing house, I've published around 50 books, both in the UK and here. Also represented some writers from here, and I've translated some of the articles, like the Devendra Mahadev and others who write for their articles are about equal society and other things. So yes, it's been a pleasure talking to you, and it's been long pending. So let's work together to make UVC at the heart of the Bangalore and the, Karnataka and India engineering, and yes.
Sridhar sir, thank you so much for taking your time out and being here for this podcast. We're all sitting in marvel, recording yet another offline podcast. So the guest's time, much appreciated. Thank you so much. To all of our listeners, if you do want to get in touch with the Team Chronicles, make sure that you go on Instagram at VisionUVC, right? And you can contact us if you have any queries or if you'd like to contribute in any way. And with that, we will conclude this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next episode.